All right, welcome back to Portland Paper. Playing some Pauper here in Portland. Here we're in our fourth round here. We've got Luis Herbie on the left playing some Burn, and Trevor Ellis on the right playing four-color Enchantress. Both these players are undefeated. I believe they're sporting 3-0 records. We'll get that updated in a hot second. But it looks like Burn was on the play, playing out a couple creatures over the first two turns, getting in the red zone there with Key2 Lava Runner for one. Also playing out a Thermal Alchemist. Quick introductions. I'm Colin. With me is Peter.
Hey, listeners out there. So, looks like a really strong start from Burn, fighting the life gain from those life lands. There is some incidental life gain happening over on Trevor's side with this Enchantress control deck.
Yeah, but importantly, he is not stuck in an enchant land. His deck's running a handful of those. They help ramp him generally, fix his mana, and also provide a target for an important card in the matchup, which will be Quiet Disrepair. As an enchantment or artifact, where the controller of Quiet Disrepair gets the option to gain 2 life a turn, or destroy the enchantment or artifact on his upkeep. Generally, they're going to play that on their own enchantments and just try and gain a lot of life per turn to keep pace with what their opponent's doing, until they grind the game out to a point where they're just up a bunch of life and can pestilence the opponent out of the game. But this is a pretty creature-heavy hand from Herbie on the left. Not a lot of burn spells so far, but importantly, he did stick down Curse of the Pierced Heart. That can help fight some of the life gain that Trevor is going to try to accumulate over here. I have not gotten a good look at their hands yet. Peter, who do you think is favored here?
Oh, with this board state, you gotta like Burn's position, especially being able to tap and untap there with the Alchemist.
Yeah, I mean, importantly, these Gitu Lava Runners are only getting in for 1 right now. It does not yet have the 2 instants or sorceries in the graveyard. Not a terribly fast start. I mean, we'll see if he can start chaining some spells. That'll be really key with the Thermal Alchemist. What is that? Looks
Fate's
like
Fetters. Ooh,
Ooh, not bad.
that is a great card for that Alchemist. We're gonna see it tap in response, but that might be the last damage we see from that guy.
Yeah, that is locked up for pretty much the rest of the game.
Four life on that ETB too.
Yeah,
It's
that
big
is
game.
that's big game. I think Trevor's only sporting 1 of those in his deck. We'll validate that. Let's see. On the upkeep here, Riftbolt resolving. Gonna target Trevor's face. Send it upstairs. Still only 1 instant or sorcery in the graveyard here. So we'll see what he draws. I think he's got 3 cards in his hand now. Let's see. Trying to get a good look at what's in Trevor's hand. I see the enchant land that gives it Shroud, and it's like the hybrid mana funny one from Conflux, I think. Crystalline Abundance, something like that.
That is a funny one.
Well, not a lot of lands from Herbie, which is good generally. I feel like for Burn, you probably want to have 4 lands that you've drawn over the course of the game tops. It helps you get up to that Fire Blast at the top level. Really close the game out. Trevor has just resolved Crewfix's Insight. This is the card advantage engine of his deck. Because he's playing so many enchantments, this is functionally like a draw 3 out of the top 6 of his library there. Importantly, what is that? Yes, Crewfix's Insight, thank you. I have it on the screen here. He's playing 31 enchantments, so odds are good that he's going to hit at least 3 cards there. Filter out some dead lands here. He's already got 5. The Protective Circle, Story Circle, something like that. The white enchantment that he drew there is pretty key. What that lets him do when he plays it, will let him pay 1 and pay a life to prevent any damage from this, like a source of the color of his choice, but it has to match the color that he pays the mana for. His deck can filter for different colors, or like different sorts, so making red mana won't necessarily be a problem. 2 Curse of the Pierced Hearts, pretty good for Herbie. Trevor's at 10. How do you like Herbie's odds here?
Ooh, I like we got a nice competitive game going, but I feel like Trevor may have started to turn the corner.
Yeah.
Even the 2 Pierced Hearts is only gonna fight up against one of those.
Quiet Disrepair, but we haven't seen any of those yet. Trevor's got a few enchantments that he could choose from between Journey to Nowhere and the Faith Fetters, but I feel like if he had one of those, he would just slam it already. Have not seen a lot of spells. This is honestly a pretty funky hand from Pauper Burn. Pauper Burn mostly looks to stick Thermo Alchemist. I had not seen Firebrand Archer out of Luis's deck. Trying to get the deck list up here, but having some trouble doing that. There's that Crystalline Abundance. No, wait, this is something else. This is basically pacifism, I believe, for hybrid blue, green, and white. But also activated abilities can't be activated.
So if Herbie has a Fire Blast here, is he still saving that?
I'm not certain.
Certainly at this point, now that the Lava Runner's off the battlefield.
Yeah, that's interesting. It really feels like Trevor's turned the corner. Herbie just passes the turn, nothing doing. Trevor's at 11, it would seem. Going down to 9 on his upkeep, I believe. Trying to do our best to keep track of that here. But he's going to gain 1 off the Jungle Hollow. Gain land's a pretty important part of Pauper. It's really just those and the bounce lands for fixing. Which leads to, generally slower decks. Burn can take advantage of that, being one of the best monocolored decks in the format. Really just push the pedal to the metal and put the pressure on the opponent. This is, I believe, another kind of pacifism effect, right? But it'll cantrip if the creature's black.
It's interesting looking at Pauper Burn. You're going to see we get to play a lot of the best modern burn cards, including some of the best legacy ones. Fire Blast is a crazy 0 mana deal 4 damage. But again, unlike legacy and modern, you're often dealing with your opponents gaining a few life over the course of a game rather than damaging themselves from their mana base.
Yeah. Honestly, Pauper Burn, not far off the price of Legacy Burn. Obviously, you're missing some staples like Price of Progress, Goblin Guide, and things like that. But yeah, lots of Legacy Burn staples. Some burn decks are even running Flame Rift. Dominaria introduced Gitu Lava Runner. That's a pretty good new card to introduce to the format. Some decks we're still preferring like Firebrand Archer over Gitu Lava Runner. What's your take on that?
I mean, the quick damage you're gonna get. Sometimes if you're playing that Archer on turn 2, you're not going to actually get value out of it because that thing can get killed before you're able to cast another spell. So being able to have that additional 1-drop and just get ahead on the board is pretty big.
Yeah. When you're empty-handed late in the game, as Pauper Burn sometimes is, I feel like the Lava Runner is a much better top deck than the Firebrand Archer could be.
And there's that story circle we were talking about a minute ago.
Yes.
Herbie reading it, probably not going to like what he sees.
Certainly not. I believe Trevor can make red mana through, is that Unknown Shores, the filter land under Jungle Hollow? He's also got Abundant Growth on that forest, so not hurting for red mana. I think Trevor's pretty much got this game locked up. At a certain point, he will likely draw Curse of the Bloody Tome and start milling Luis out. Not really much for Herbie, to be done there. Another Krufix is Insight, just keeping Trevor's hand pretty full. This is a pretty unique deck. 4-color Enchantress, not quite tier 1 in Pauper. I don't think it's seen a lot of high-level play, but it's, I think, a relatively new construction. I think I've only seen it for the first time within the last year and a half or so.
Certainly doing work tonight, though, up at the 3-0 table and having a favorable position here against Burn.
Yeah. I'm not certain what he played against in the first round. Peter and I were both playing in the event a little bit earlier. I played against Trevor in the second round. I was on mono black control, and I got run out of the game. It felt like all I could really do was play out some creatures, which were getting eaten up by Journey to Nowhere and Oblivion Ring, and try and resolve a big Gary. But at that point, Trevor had 40 life, so it really didn't matter. Yes, Protective Sphere, not Story Circle. So this one, assuming Trevor can make 3 red mana per turn, Herbie really has to just fill up his hand and hope. Imagine, at this point he can hard cast Fire Blast, but imagine, sacking 2 mountains, casting that and getting that effectively countered by Protective Sphere. I say, yep. Herbie's showing us the card. That is quite the beating. I mean, the bad news is he probably doesn't have much on the sideboard for this matchup. Red has no enchantment destruction options, even in like modern and legacy.
Oh, that's one of the things you gotta love about Pauper, though. A deck shows up, nobody is filling their sideboard with enchantment control on their mind.
No, it's true. I mean, it's funny because I feel like when Boggles is good, Enchantress does a little worse as well. Um, cards like Tranquility, sometimes common. I mean, always common because it's Pauper. Tranquility, Serene Heart, quite good as well. Serene Heart's a good teachings target in both, or in Tron mostly. Yeah. What's this uncommon one doing on the screen though? That's a
beautiful art.
It is nice art.
Great job, Margaret.
Yeah. Shout out to Margaret. Thank you. So much better. Yeah. Quite the beating. I'm not sure Trevor has any interaction for that in his deck. I feel like if that resolves, you could Manamorphose into that. Get some good options out of the sideboard.
That is a beautiful win condition right there. That is a Curse of the Bloody Tome.
Yeah, so on Herbie's upkeep, he's going to mill 2 cards before he draws. Looks like we're done here in game 1. Everyone's collecting their cards from different playmats here back into their own deck, shuffling up for game number 2. Alrighty, so we've got Trevor's sideboard pulled up here. He's got some nice options. I feel like he's got some counters in his sideboard here. He's got Negate and Prohibit, both. He's not really hurting for blue mana necessarily. I feel like he can make it off of Abundant Growth, Fertile Ground. It's got a few other options as well, but the Unknown Shores. You think he's going to bring those in?
Ooh. Maybe. The extra counter spells are alright, but as we just saw, sometimes those permanents hit the battlefield before you get to untap with 2 mana. What I'm looking at are those 4 Aura Gnarlids coming out of the sideboard.
Alright.
No one's going to be ready for an Aura Gnarlid.
Well, I was playing Mono Black, and I was ready, because I knew what was going on, but even still, just got run out of the second game. I don't think I saw an Aura Gnarlid. Weren't enough cards to bring in. I could sideboard out all of my creature hate, so I'm sure he knew that and recognized that.
It's a great blocker, but again, how many creatures is Herbie actually looking to turn sideways in the attack step here?
I mean, those are among your fastest starts. If you can play Thermal Alchemist turn 2 and just chain a lot of burn spells on your 3rd turn, you're pretty favored. Usually. It's kind of an interesting deck. I feel like if Trevor gets a slow start, Burn can easily outpace him. It's nice that Trevor's playing 12 Gainlands, full play sets of all the color combinations between green, white, and black. Along with, the Quiet Disrepairs, Faith's Fetters, just a one of in Trevor's deck. We have that pulled up now. Recumbent Bliss, a pretty spicy one from Eventide. Maybe we could get that one pulled up. Just a one of, but feels like it'd be pretty good. Playing that out on a Lava Runner, just getting an extra life per turn. Flip over to Herbie's sideboard here, if we can. I am not certain that he has a lot for this matchup. Let's see. What cards does Burn normally run in their Pauper sideboard? I'm sure Luis has some pretty typical things.
Well, one nice thing we're seeing is maybe some land destruction. That Molten Rain comes down, deals some damage.
Ooh, takes out an Abundant Growth as well?
I mean, if he can hit something with a Quiet Disrepair or...
Yeah. The Fertile Ground lands, also a pretty good target. Just a bolt upstairs, looks like. Trevor's going to go to 17. Yeah, Molten Rain, an excellent sideboard card. It looks like it'll probably be that, and maybe the Kelvin Marauders. Herbie has a playset of those in the sideboard. Nice for a quick 5 damage on turn 2 if you can stick that. But here we just see Skewer the Critics following up Lightning Bolt. Trevor plays Gainland, back up to 15, passes the turn.
Skewer the Critics, another nice new addition to this Pauper deck. Nice to see some of these older formats still changing as we get these new spoiler seasons. It's fun to keep your eye on the Pauper cards, the common cards, and sometimes it's that last day when we get the full dump of the set that you're picking through and finding some sweet little nuggets.
Yeah. I remember Skewer Skewer the Critic's getting spoiled. People posting about it on the Pauper subreddit seemed excited about its application in Burn. Chain Lightning up to the face. Last turn we missed it. Molten Rain on the forest with the abundant growth on it. And it seems like Trevor's hurting for green mana suddenly. That is a great way to beat this deck. Trevor missing land drops entirely, going to discarding Oblivion Ring, it looks like. Herbie hitting a lot of land drops. Maybe fine. You see an extra land in hand. I believe that's Fire Blast as well. Probably not quite where he wants to be. He's got Trevor on the ropes, but Trevor going to discard again, another O-Ring.
Well, 2 more lands, he can start casting that thing.
Yeah, not bad. All right, Lava Spike off the top. Trevor's down to 6. Passing the turn back. Going to discard. Looks like a green spell that he can't cast anyway. What do we got? Okay, Fire Blast, sacking 2 mountains, floating 2 red. And now playing out Skewer, and that's it. All right, and that's pretty much how Burn wants to do it. Molten Rain, huge in that game. Really sticking Trevor on mana. Trevor unfortunate not to draw a 3rd land there. But yeah, that's why Molten Rain's in the sideboard.
Well, fortunate for us. That means we get to go to a game 3.
And it appears that this is the money game. You got Travis downstairs putting the high stakes on the table here. So I believe that's first place gets I believe
Abraham Lincoln, number 1 in our hearts and our minds.
Right, that's why he's number 1. And second place getting who's that? Who's that on a $10 bill? I know.
Is that Hamilton?
That is Hamilton.
Ooh,
yeah.
Alexander Hamilton. Yeah, strong second place finish for Hamilton today.
All right. We've done a little bit of sideboard analysis. How do you feel about where Pauper is as a format right now?
Oh, I think this tournament today has showed us we definitely have some live strategies, especially seeing this Enchantress deck. This is not the only sort of, off the map deck that can take some people by surprise.
Certainly not.
But, we still have the pillars of the format, just like a lot of non-rotating formats. You have your Delver variants, you have your mid-range in the form of Boros.
Even mono black. It's mono black control in the title, but that's a mid-range deck through and through.
And then you have Tron feasting on those, mid-range decks. So you have that nice rotation. Enough decks that, you can't prepare for everything that's going to show up at the tournament, but also a lot of decks that have game.
Certainly. My one wish for Pauper, gain land, Lava Spike, pretty typical start here. Trevor's going into his second turn. Another gain land. That's, that's really great. That's kind of, if all of your lands are going to gain you life when they come into play against Burn, you don't really mind being a turn behind in terms of mana.
If you don't tell me what your one Pauper wish is, it's going to kill me.
I wish that combo was more represented in the format. It seems like the 2 best combo decks are Inside Out and I had the other one in mind and then I forgot it. What's the second best combo deck? It's another Gush deck.
Probably Is It Blitz.
Is It Blitz, for sure. Lots of free spells. Kurtar's Desire.
Both of those decks are creature-based combo, which, some people still get their kicks out of casting 6 or 7 spells and hitting in with a Kiln Fiend, but a lot of the best Pauper cards are on the ban list for being Storm-related because combo has traditionally been so strong.
Here's an interesting play. Kurtar's Desire does not do a lot on Thermo Alchemist. My thought is that Trevor is stuck on 2 lands here. He was on the play in this game. I'm guessing that he just wanted to play that out so he could get a Quiet Disrepair on it and start gaining 2 life return. And there it is. Still though, 2 Thermo Alchemists, Riftbolt suspended. Trevor is in pretty rough shape here.
All right. Well, do you think Herbie's got it in him to point that Riftbolt as his own Alchemist?
I believe he's a bad enough dude. That Quiet Disrepair, Herbie's not going to end the game within 2 turns. It seems like pointing the Riftbolt at the Alchemist is going to be the way to do it. What's nice is he can activate it 2 times, effectively, next turn before he has to do that. So, we'll see. I think that's the correct play. Yep, Trevor down to 16. Triggers, untap the Thermal Alchemist. Draws a card. Looks like it just went upstairs. Pretty interesting. Herbie knows the content of his hand. Maybe he feels confident that he can kill off Trevor before it will gain him more than 3 life.
And the more spells he casts this turn, the more value he's getting out of it. He can still kill it if he chooses.
It's
But
true.
he's got Trevor on the ropes here, missing land drops again.
Yeah. Oh, imagine a Molten Rain here. Pretty interesting. Yeah, you don't see a lot of three-color decks within Pauper, four-color especially. Enchantress, has the tools to do that with things like Fertile Ground and the different fixing that the deck has, but it's really just that and Tron playing a lot of, those are the multicolor decks of the format, it would seem.
And now we get to stack some upkeep triggers.
Oh
Taking
boy.
some damage, gaining some life.
Yep. Trevor living the dream. Life total's changing fast and loose here. We're doing our best to keep up. Looks like Trevor's down to 8. Luis is going to untap for his turn. Trying to get a good look at what Luis has in his hand. I think I see a Molten Rain in there. Yowzer. Alright, Lava Runner. Coming down in the red
and he's
zone.
hasty.
Yeah, he's a hasty guy. Trevor down to 6, it would seem.
Lava Runner confirmed better than Goblin Guide.
Ah. Yeah, I'm sure, it's looking pretty late in the game here for Trevor, but I'm sure Trevor would like to draw another land. Especially now. Off that Goblin Guide trigger, that would be Goblin Guide trigger. Alright, and that's it. And, cool. Yep.
Pauper Burn.
Pauper Burn taking down 4-color Enchantress. Pretty interesting matchup. We saw how Enchantress wants to grind the game out in the first game. Gained not a lot of life, honestly, outside of the gain lands that he played. I don't think we saw a Quiet Disrepair until later. That Faith's Fetters is pretty key, though, in that first game.
Yeah, sometimes, you don't hit your land drops and you lose a game, but
Sometimes you do it a second time, and you lose the match. But that's Magic. That's Magic, baby. Kind of the variance makes a lot of the games interesting, where they might not be otherwise.
so that match went pretty quick. I think we'll probably try to see if we can get another game going for you guys, so stick around. We may have some more common cards to stare at together.